Yesterday was a big day, September 30th, 2025. Mark that date. We had the government shut down at midnight, and earlier in the day, Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump's handpicked secretary of who the hell knows what, stood in front of America's top generals at Quantico and announced that the Department of Defense is dead. From now on, it's the Department of War. Think about that. For generations, Americans have lived under the assumption, or at least the illusion, that our military exists to defend us. The Pentagon was defense. It was supposed to signal restraint, even if the U.S. has a long record of intervention abroad. But Hegseth, he just ripped that mask right off. He said it outright. America is a nation of war. Not peace, war. He went on and on, talking about Rome in the 4th century, which, by the way, was in its empire stage, not a republic. He brought up George Washington and talked about mottos like, "Those who long for peace must prepare for war." He tried to make it sound noble. But who the hell does he think he's fooling? That man stood in front of 800 generals and rewrote history to serve this regime's authoritarian goals. But he forgot a few key points. Washington may have led us in the war for independence, but he also warned against the U.S. getting caught up in foreign entanglements. Rome didn't just prepare for war. Rome collapsed under the weight of constant militarism. But none of that mattered to Hegseth. He cherry-picked the past to sell a future where war is the only American identity. The core of his message was simple. The military now has one mission, and one mission only: war. Not defense or diplomacy, not humanitarian missions, not disaster relief, just war. He used the words unrelenting and uncompromising. He mocked pacifism as naive and dangerous. And then he threw out the line, "To our enemies, FAFO, fuck around and find out." That wasn't a slip of tongue. It was a threat made in front of the entire officer corps about using U.S. troops against whomever they decide counts as an enemy. And then Trump himself took it further. In his own remarks, he floated the idea of using American cities as training grounds for our military. Chicago, Portland, Oregon, and other so-called dangerous places, training grounds. Just think about that. The President of the United States proposed treating our own neighborhoods as military training grounds. That's not defense. That's military occupation of our cities. That's a rehearsal for turning the military inward against the people they are sworn to protect. The message here is obey or be crushed. Accept militarization as patriotism or be branded the enemy. This wasn't just policy. This is political theater, a loyalty test. Hegseth kept invoking Trump over and over in his remarks, making it clear that the general's job is no longer to defend the Constitution or the people. Their job is to serve Trump's vision of militarized nationalism, which is strange for a man who dodged military service himself. Trump is disturbingly eager to use American troops as his personal weapon abroad or at home. Dictators in the last century followed this same script. Redefine the enemy until your own citizens make the list. Then use the army not to protect them, but to control them. So, let's be clear. Yesterday's message wasn't about a simple name change. It was a declaration of intent. Pete Hegseth told America's generals, and Trump confirmed it, that the U.S. military is no longer preparing to defend America. It's preparing for endless war. And yeah, that includes war at home. That is not freedom. That is authoritarianism, draped in a flag and pointing straight at us. This is bullshit is what it is. This craziness has to stop.